Alex Crook joins us now, Chief Football Correspondent. Good afternoon, Crookie.
Afternoon, boys.
There'd been word of this. It's not come completely out of left field, but it's been a fantastic time for him at City. He's won it all, as they say. A frustrating career at times. You know, we were saying, looking at his injury record, he wasn't somebody who got long injuries. He just got lots of injuries, which stopped that rhythm building, didn't it?
Yeah, and ultimately, I think that's probably why the decision's been made to bring his trophy-laden Manchester City career to an end. 19 major trophies. He's won nearly 300 appearances in the Sky Blue for Manchester City. So you have to say he's been one of the most significant signings in recent years. But you're right, injuries have caught up with him. And again, just at the wrong time in terms of a World Cup this summer. I know he's a player that Thomas Tuchel deeply admires, but you have to ask the question, A, has he played enough football over the course of the season to warrant a place on the plane? And B, can you trust him and his body to hold out for the duration of the tournament? Obviously, that's a call that Tuchel will be making over the next few weeks. As to what happens next for John Stones, I know there has been a little bit of talk of potentially returning to his old club, Everton. They're pretty well stocked in the centre-back department at the moment, so unless anybody leaves, I think that probably would be unlikely at this moment in time. I know there's always been a bit of interest in Saudi Arabia, and he'd be a good signing, wouldn't he, for one of the newly promoted clubs, maybe Coventry, for example, if they're looking for a little bit of Premier League now, a bit of Premier League know-how and experience. He would tick a lot of boxes, I'd have thought.
It'd be interesting with Everton with Branthwaite, though. A lot of clubs would like him, so...
Last big payday, though. I mean, whoever Cov, we were talking to Franny Benali earlier on. Again, he felt wages could be a problem at a club like Southampton. We've had Newcastle fans, Palace fans all saying, "Oh yeah, we'd love him." So he's not going to be short of offers, is he?
No, I've had Chelsea fans message me and say we'll take him because obviously one of the big issues with that squad has been a lack of experience.
Good point.
At centre back.
I've been told, Crookie, that they are looking for more experience, but not in that age range, more like the 25, 26-year-old. So I'd be
25, 26-year-old veterans.
Well, I mean, that sort of who've played a lot in the Premier League from sort of, but not 28, 29.
But when, now look at how good Thiago Silva was for you.
I agree with you. I'm not saying that's what I do. I'm just telling you that's what I've been told.
Yeah.
That's their plan.
Now, your notebook, your transfer notebook, Junior Kroupi has attracted a lot of interest. And apparently Arsenal are one of the clubs that quite fancy the Bournemouth forward.
Yeah, I think he could have his pick of clubs at the top of the Premier League. When you look at his record, the first teenager to hit double figures in terms of goals in his maiden season. He's actually scored home and away against Arsenal, which has put him firmly, I'm told, on Mikel Arteta's radar. But they'll drive a hard bargain, Bournemouth. This is not an Antoine Semenyo, Dean Howson type situation. I'm told there isn't a release clause in his contract, and I don't think they're under any financial pressure to sell Bournemouth. And I guess the decision for Junior Kroupi is, does he want to take the plunge this summer and join one of those big clubs and maybe risk not being a regular starter, or does he give Bournemouth one more season, try and replicate what he's done this year, and then presumably those big offers will remain on the table? But I tell you what, he's a heck of a talent they've unearthed.
He gets 10 million quid. Their recruitment's fantastic,
and he's only 19. He's got plenty of time.
Yeah.
He could easily.
I think you're right, Crook.
He could easily have another year at Bournemouth and watch that grow, and then see what happens. Dean Henderson, you say, from a Palace point of view, what's going on there?
Yeah, big summer for Crystal Palace, obviously, in terms of an appointment to replace Oliver Glasner. I'm told they do have someone in mind. I don't think it's Andoni Iraola as much as they like him. I think they realise that he's destined for bigger clubs, but I would expect news on that over the next couple of weeks or so. They're going to have a battle to keep hold of Adam Wharton. In fact, the direction of travel seems to be that he will be the latest Palace player heading out of Selhurst Park. But Dean Henderson's certainly someone they want to keep. He's still got a couple of years left on his current deal, but I think they are looking to extend it. He's been an excellent signing, isn't he? Big part of the FA Cup success, saved a penalty in the final at Wembley, big part of their run to the Conference League semi-finals, both legs of which are live on talkSPORT 2 over the next couple of weeks. And he's changed agents recently, which is usually a sign that A, you're trying to leave, or B, you're looking to get yourself better terms.
Now, every transfer window, Borough fans breathe a sigh of relief when the window closes, and Hayden Hackney is still playing for them. Look, if they come up,
a lot depends on whether they get promoted.
Exactly. If they come up automatically or via the playoffs, then I'm sure he will have at least a season in the Premier League with Borough. If not, then you would imagine this summer could be it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there was a fear among Borough fans they might cash in January, that they didn't. They've held their nerve. But as you say, I think if they don't go up Middlesbrough, then Hayden Hackney probably will decide the time is right to move on. Everton, Nottingham Forest, just a couple of clubs who are keeping tabs on the situation. I do wonder if Michael Carrick gets the permanent gig at Manchester United, if he might come onto their radar as well. Obviously played under Carrick at Borough, but they need to sign a couple of midfielders. One will be 80 to 100 million pound. I thought they can't. I don't think
You want Elliot Anderson, don't you?
Two players. So maybe he could be a cheaper option. But what a situation! I know you've been previewing the Southampton game tonight, but Middlesbrough, one of 4 teams potentially who could go into the last day of the season in with a shout of going up in the top 2. And if they do, maybe Hayden Hackney might decide he's best to stay put. So, yeah, I think his future very much is dependent on what division Middlesbrough are in next season.
Replacing Casemiro, though. What a game. He played so well last night. He's been brilliant. Ever since he's decided he's going, he's been absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
It's a heck of a farewell tour, isn't it, that he's putting together? And, he suddenly started scoring goals every week. Wouldn't surprise him if he scores against Liverpool on Sunday in his final game between those two big rivals.
And just finally, James Tavernier leaving Rangers after 11 years. In demand, you'd think Wolves could be interested.
Yeah, certainly they're keeping tabs on him. I think, again, he's got a big offer from Saudi Arabia, which I'd imagine would be attractive because much like John Stone, this will be his last big payday. 11 years he's been at Rangers. I think a player in the last couple of seasons who's divided opinion amongst Rangers supporters, but I think he has been a good servant up until that point. And Rob Edwards sees him, I'm told, as the type of character that can help Wolves get back into the Premier League at the first time of asking. Again, it's going to be a big turnover of players. I think at Molineux, I broke the news on Friday night that João Gomez is in the sights of Atletico Madrid. That would be a £40 million transfer. I'm sure he won't be the only big departure, and Rob Edwards will be hoping he can reinvest and build a team to challenge for promotion. Tottenham were mentioned with regard to Tavernier as well. I'd imagine that would probably only be if they were to suffer relegation and drop into the Championship.
I'm finding it very difficult to get excited about prospective transfers and stories about transfers until I know what league we're in. So where we're shopping, whether with respect to Aldi or Harrods. And not that there's anything wrong with Aldi. So where can we, for those that still are hanging on every transfer story, where can we find the notebook? When's it available?
Yeah, every Tuesday on the talkSPORT website. And if you subscribe to our newsletter, then it will pop up in your inbox as well.
Brilliant. Cheers, Crookie. Thanks very much.
Cheers, guys.